Hello, good morning, everybody. We'll give it just a couple more minutes for people to join in here. So we got a couple people still trickling in, and then we'll get started. Kind of my plan today. I wanted to go over um, kind of the creation of tactile graphics, some of the things you can do with TSS, and also we have just released the Color Connect uh, for the Elite, which is great. And so I want to go over some of the details of that as well on the webinar this morning and answer any questions that you might have. Um, Lindsay, can you still hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can still hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, perfect. My computer just kind of did this weird little it said needs to do a restart so the microphone driver can update. And I thought, uh-oh, what a wonderful time for updates. Let's see. Looks like we got about 15 people. We'll give it about one more minute, then we'll get started. So before we get started, though, as we've got quite a few people, um, as you know, either a show of hands in the chat, how many people have created tactile graphics, and if so, um, what device do you normally use? Is it yeah, just type in the device you normally use to create tactile graphics and how much experience you have with that. No wrong answers. We have people all over the board from brand new to experience. So Tiger Elite, new, perfect, awesome. 2 years of TSS on a VP Irie. Oh, Justin. Hey, Justin. Um, okay, cool. The V Plus Premiere with the Ink Connect, great combo. So we'll cover the Elite with the Color Ink Connect a little bit today. Tactographic image library mostly, great. Um, Tactographics bootcamp. Oh, I may have. So I did a training for the patent boot camp. So you may have attended one of these already. Corel Draw, awesome. The Elite, Swell Paper, awesome. Okay, so let's get started on creating Braille and tactile graphics. Um, and so let me start off. I'm going to share my screen. And usually, so when it comes to creating tactile graphics, usually uh, I try to say, use whatever works for you. The printers that we make at View Plus are, are true printers. So a lot of times, you'll expect with an embosser you need to have some specific software, whether that's like Duxbury or Tactile View. All of those will work, but the View Plus printers will also um, print on other programs that you have. So we like to use Word and Excel. We've also got Tiger Designer. But you don't have to print your tactile graphics from these. I've got so Lindsay's on the call today. She's going to go over how to use Illustrator a little bit. We know of an architect that uses a CAD program to draw his blueprints on there. So the uh, the thing I like to think about is when printing tactile graphics, um, it will print a picture, from any program, whether that's a JPEG from Windows Image Viewer, or if that's um, an Illustrator file or a CAD file. The big thing that you're going to need the translation for is for uh, translating Braille. So we have a built-in translator that you can use that I think Lindsay uses for using Illustrator, because Illustrator doesn't have a text to Braille translator. But you can use the standalone translator to translate text to Braille. Or you can use things like Word, that we have the Tiger Ribbon on, and the Tiger Ribbon will help you translate that from within Word or Excel. So there's a lot of different ways to get the text translated into Braille, and the graphics will always print as graphics. So I'm going to start with Word today, and so I've got a blank Word document open. I'm just going to start typing here. Where did the quick brown fox jumped over the fence? And if you go to the Tiger Ribbon here, on the left side here, we have profile settings. The profile settings will allow you to adjust how the text translation is going to show up, how you want it to handle the document. And so so right now I have the Lloyd profile selected. I have a couple different profiles that I've made. So you could switch between these. A lot of times we will see people that will create profiles for various different reasons. Sometimes it's that they have two different students, that one of them is using grade 1 and one is using grade 2, or sometimes they have two different embossers. I think I saw in the chat that somebody's using an Elite and a Pixblaster. So you may get one profile set up for the Elite, especially if you're using an Ink Connect, or possibly if you're going to start using the new Color Ink Connect that we just came out with. There'll be a profile that you can set up that says, I want to use Color Ink and tactile graphics from this document. And then you can set up another one if you buy a Columbia or a Pixblaster or a Braille Track, and you can switch the profiles back and forth to be machine specific if you'd like to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and select Lloyd. I'm going to say open this profile, and this is going to give us all of our settings. The default language I have set to English. We sell these embossers worldwide, so we have several different languages you can select, but I'm just going to leave that with English. And then I have grade 2 selected. If you want to do grade 1, grade 1's a lot simpler Braille, so you can select grade 1 on here. It takes away some of the settings. If you select grade 2, it's going to add this customized UEB contraction table. So all of the contractions are built into a table with TSS that you can edit that table, and I can uncheck specific tables that if I don't want those contractions to work, so we can uncheck like as or can or from to where it doesn't do those contractions. I'm going to go ahead and leave all of these selected though, because I like all of the contractions to show up. And then it asks you to save it. So if you modify it, it'll ask you to save that as a specific table. It's going to say it already exists. That's fine. We can overwrite it. And here you'll notice that I have a couple different contraction tables. So I can select the modified one and I can edit that. And this one here, I just unselected this one. And so I'm going to unselect some more. And I'm going to hit OK. It's going to ask me to save. I'm just going to save this as 2 and hit OK. And this will add this to the drop-down to select from. So you can adjust the tables. Most of the time, we see people that will get this set up, and they don't really mess with it a whole lot. But you can go through here. I'm going to select 2. We're going to delete this one. A modified. Oops. Modified. We're going to delete that one. And then make sure that I just have the all contractions, which has all of them selected. As far as the math Braille type, so currently I have UEB Technical. We usually see Nemeth or UEB Technical. So you can select that here. And on the left side, we have different settings. So if you want to use like Jumbo Braille, we hear that occasionally. Or if you want no capitals or preserve italics, you can adjust the way that You can adjust the way that translates the Braille. As far as the ink settings go, this is how the ink will print on the document. So if you have an embosser that doesn't print ink, which is most of them don't print ink, but there are some ways around that. If you have a cut sheet embosser, so if you have the Delta, or if you have the Braille sheet, or if you even have like a Max that you're just doing a single sheet print, you can print those on an office printer and print the ink first, and then feed the ink sheet in, and then print the tactile. The machine itself won't print ink, but you can have ink on the page as it's embossing. So that's kind of one way around it. But the interline text historically has been used on like the Spot Dot or the Elite or Premier with the standard Ink Connect. And now we have the Elite with the Color Ink Connect. And you can also select no ink. So if your embosser does not print ink, you can say no ink. This will make the translation process faster because it is translating just to Braille, and you're not translating Braille and ink as well. So I'm going to go and select this here, and we're going to do page layout. So page layout, this is very similar to any printer page layout. This is going to ask you things like the orientation of the paper, whether you if you want letter sheet, you could do legal. We have 11.5 by 11. So you can select your sheet size, and then you can do your margins. And in printer properties, let me just make sure that I've got this setting here. We'll come back to this here in a minute. And so, yeah, these are pretty standard page layout settings. And then lastly, we have the document settings. So the document settings have the header and the footer, and then what you would like to do with like page numbers. And then once you have this set up the way you want, you can go ahead and hit save, and this will save this profile. And usually once you save a profile, you won't really need to change it a whole lot. We can set this profile. I could have embossed this document without ever going into the profiles. And so now this text here will emboss grade 2. It will do interline with the text over top of the Braille in Arial 12-point font. And to get that, I can just hit translate document. We have a couple other options in here, so we can reload the original if we decide we want to change the profile or any of the settings. We have translate section. That will allow you to just or translate selection, so you can select part of the document and just translate that selection if you want. I don't see that used a whole lot, but some people do use that. What I use is just translate document. This is going to translate the entire document. It's going to ask you to save it first. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And it's going to give you a progress bar, which was really quick to translate the document into Braille. So we have the quick brown fox jumped over the fence. All of the ink will line up on the same line as the Braille. And then for some reason, if I wanted to load a different profile, I can go back and say reload original document. This is going to take me back to the quick brown fox jumped over the fence. We can go back to the tiger menu, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to say, I wanted to make this grade 1, and hit save. And then if I translate the document, you'll see with grade 1, there's no contractions in there, and the Braille is longer than grade 2. I'll reload this. It switches back to grade 2. And translate the document. And as far as the Braille goes, right now we have it showing the Braille dots. If you prefer for it to show the ASCII Braille, you can toggle this show ASCII. And so that shows what it would look like. And you can print either way. So if you print with this, it's still going to translate that into Braille dots when you print. So if you prefer to see it this way on the on the screen, it will still print Braille when you hit print. Let's say you have a Delta, or you have a Braille sheet, or any one of our sheet feed embossers that's not like the Spot Dot that already prints ink, and you want to print the ink, and then you want to print the Braille for this. You can say hide Braille, and this will hide the Braille dots. You can print this ink sheet out, and then after you've printed the ink out, you can click Show Braille, load the ink into the sheet feeder for the embosser, click Show Braille, and then hit print, and it will allow you to print the Braille dots with that. It's a little bit of a more complicated process than just a one-pass printing like the Color Ink Connect will do. But we'll go into that here in a little bit. As far as creating tactile graphics goes, there's no translation for tactile graphics, and you can print any image you want. It will print every image out there. Usually what I like to think about when I'm creating tactile graphics is there's a saying that says a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so the more detailed the picture is, the more information the printer is going to try to show. And so if you have a very detailed image of like a mountain with a river and all kinds of detail behind that, we're trying to fit all of that information on one sheet. And so I try to find more simplified images, usually some of the big ones that are nice is like cartoons and things like that. You can draw your own images. Lindsay's going to go over how to draw some of her own images here later. Whoops, not from device. Let's just do the online pictures. And I'm just going to say Fox cartoon, search. I'm just going to pick the cartoon here. And I'm going to try this out because with tactile graphics, usually bigger is always better. So try to make these as big as possible on the paper. And from here, we have something we can print. So with this, these are a printer. So you can use any of the keyboard shortcuts that you're used to for printing. You can either go up to File, click on File, and go down to Print. If you're used to using keyboard shortcuts, you can do Control P. And then, so I'm going to do this to the Rogue Sheet print a file. That's going to make it to where it doesn't physically print, but it's going to print a PRN file. Fox, I'm going to save this to the desktop and hit OK. And right down here, it shows the progress bar that it's printing, or it's actually saving the file. Looks like it's done. So I can go back here to Quick Brown Fox. Refresh this. Oops. Let's see. We'll open this up and open with Tiger Designer. Perfect. So we have the Braille at the top, along with the tactile graphic. So with Tiger Designer, a couple different things. Tiger Designer is always going to show Braille in blue. So the Braille up here is blue. We have 8 different dot heights that these embossers are capable of printing at. So we have everything from a 0 dot height, which is no dots or no height, all the way up until color dot 7, and then color dot 8 is the highest dot, which is going to be Braille. If you want to make changes to the document, you can do so in Tiger Designer. This is very similar to Microsoft Paint. So if you've used Paint before, a lot of these tools are similar, but it's going to be more Braille and tactographics focused. So some of the tools being similar. So we have the pen tool, and you can select the different dot heights, but this is just a freehand drawing tool. So I'm going to say dot height 4, and I'm just going to draw a circle, terrible circle. And you could draw squiggly lines, or if you want to draw anything there. We have the brush tool. The brush is very similar to the pen tool, but it is a wider brush. So if you want to use that to color in some stuff or draw something there, you can use that brush tool to cover a little bit more area. And anything that you're doing will overwrite anything underneath it. So let's say we have the line tool, and I'm going to go the highest dot height on this one. And I'm just going to draw a line right through this. This will overwrite the brush tool underneath it. And so the line tool, this is great for labels and things like that. So if you want to draw a label off of the fox's tail here, and then I can go up here to Braille label. This is going to select here, or I say tail.
I just want to answer the question in chat. Is Tiger Designer included with the Tiger software suite? Yes, it is.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lindsay, for that. So yeah, we with the Tiger software suite, you get a lot of different tools. So you get the Word and Excel ribbon add-in. You get Tiger Designer. You get QuickPaw. So QuickPaw is, if anybody out there tries to do, or is if anybody out there uses like a Braille note taker, you can turn your keyboard into that and just type directly if you can read and write Braille. We also have the standalone text translator. And so you get quite a few tools with the Tiger software suite. I like using Word and Excel because it's simple for me. But yeah, absolutely included with the TSS suite. So we have the Braille label tool. We also have the selection tool. So if you want to select stuff, let's say I want to select this. We're going to copy this with just Control C, actually Control X. We're going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it with Control V. And then you can move stuff around. Again, it's going to overwrite stuff. So if I drag that over the fox, it's going to overwrite. That's going to overwrite the fox. That was a mistake. I don't want to do that. So we can use the extra keyboard shortcuts of Control Z for undo. Control V will paste it, move that around. Or you can just hit the delete key and delete it altogether. Also, we have a couple other tools. So we have the rectangle draw tool. So if you want to draw a rectangle, you can select your dot heights and draw rectangles. We also have the oval tool, which works very similar to the rectangle tool, and the rectangle fill. So if you want to use a different dot height here, you can do a different one, and this will fill that entire square with that dot height. We have so this is a color or a flood fill, and this will do it will flood the entire area with any of the different dot heights. And so it doesn't have to be images that you made. So I'm gonna flood this fox's cheeks with a high dot height and the belly, and so you can do that to edit the tactographic later to make it easier. And you can also use patterns. So we have the pattern fill. So let's just do the diagonal pattern here. And this works just like the flood fill. So you can say, I'm gonna do the pattern fill on some of this. So some of the things you'll notice with the fox on Word. So the fox is a pretty simple image. It's got black outlines. It's an orange fox with white accents on it. So there's not a lot of color involved with that. The thing we noticed a couple years ago was that sometimes, so when it translates colors into different dot heights, the way it does this historically has always been in a grayscale. So when you convert colors into a grayscale, sometimes you'll get reds and blues that are the same shade of gray, so you can't really tell the difference between the colors. Um, so if I'm going to take out the fox here. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. We're going to kind of go back to a new sheet here. And I'm going to insert a new picture uh, online. And we're going to pick a one here. Let's do Bart. So we have Bart Simpson here. And so with Bart, we have yellows, reds, and blues. Translating Bart into a grayscale is going to make the reds and blues very similar. So I'm just going to hit print on this. We're not going to do any changes to anything. I'll just show you what it looks like here. I hit print by doing Control P, and I'm going to save Bart. Save this to the desktop. Hit OK. And so it is saving here. And close out of the Fox. Oops. So you'll notice here, you can tell the difference between the reds and the yellows with Bart's face being yellow, his shirt being red, and his shorts being blue. But you can't tell you can't really tell the difference between the red and the blue. That's a very similar dot height, if not the same dot height. The same thing goes for his shoes. You can't tell if his shoes are red or blue, or they could possibly be green. So a couple years ago, we started using colors for those patterns, or patterns for the colors. And what this did is it helped. Actually, let's just put this screen. And so what it is, it helped easily be able to differentiate the difference in colors. So if I go into the Tiger menu, we're going to go back to the profile settings. And under the page layout, we have our printer properties. And so you can go into printer properties, we can go into Tiger, and then we select more options and apply patterns. If we click apply, this will save this for everything we print across the device. So this is going to be directly from Word. It'll print, or it'll save it for Windows Image Viewer, all kinds of different things for that. So I'm just going to take the same document, Control P for print. Print. I'm going to call this Bart2. Save this to the desktop. So we have the exact same document. One of them was with the patterns, the other one is without the patterns. As soon as this is done translating down here, there we go. I'm going to try this over to this side here. Nothing open yet. Refresh this, and we can add. Oops. So this here, you can tell the difference between the colors. So sometimes it's better to have patterns. Sometimes it's better to have different dot heights for different colors, but you can tell very clearly here that Bart's shorts match his shoes. They're both blue. You can tell that, you know, his face and his legs and arms are yellow, and that the red on his shirt is the only red that he is wearing. Some of the cool things you can do with this is you can create your own patterns. You can also mix patterns. So I've seen one of the images has Bart holding a skateboard that we've used. And I kind of like that one. I really enjoy mixing patterns. Some, because you can create your own, we haven't really settled on a standard quite yet, but because you can create your own, once you figure out a pattern that you like for a specific color, you can use that across the board for everything. Um, I like mixing patterns, but that's just my preference. We've got a couple different pattern profiles. I think Lindsay has a specific profile that she likes using that has the colors related to specific items. So red is kind of a brick pattern, blue is kind of a wave pattern, um, and so that's a cool pattern type. The pattern profile that I have is diagonal, vertical, horizontal. So like, let's say if I were to mix the the red uh, with the uh, let's be the red with the yellow, or the red with the uh, blue would be green, and so it would mix these two patterns to make a green. So lots of really cool things you can do. You can start working on color theory with students in tactographics. Um, so yeah, lots of lots of fun things. Um, and again, I just I kind of want to go back to stress the importance of this here. Use what you're comfortable with. And I made both of these in Word and then kind of edited them a little bit in Tiger Designer. Um, if you're comfortable making stuff in Paint, use Paint, or if you use CorelDRAW, use that. Lindsay is great with Illustrator. She's going to show you that here in a few minutes, on how she creates some of the tactographics for the coloring books. Um, but let's say you had to draw something, or you needed to create a tactographic of something that is um, you're trying to convey an image, but you can't find that image, or it's not an accessible document. You can always take and you just draw your own. Let's say that we're talking about mountains. I wanted to talk about how the mountains uh, had a sun here. So we have the sun. We're gonna add a little. Actually, you know what? Let's. This is gonna make the sun a whole lot easier. So there's the sun. We can add some trees over on this side of the mountains. Um, I know if you want. I think there's a brushes deal that you can say coming out of this valley here. There's a little river. Trying to do waves here. My drawing is a little comical sometimes, but that's okay because we're creating our own tactographics. Um, and a lot of this stuff, if you want to use paint and things like that in here, you can do that in here, or you can do that in Tiger Designer. So if I just want to hit print, same thing. We're going to hit print here. It's going to print a file. Say print mountain. And this is going to save to the desktop. Save. Oh, it's already loaded here. So we have mountain. So we have the tactographic, very quick tactographic if you want to make your own. But let's say that you made the tactographic and thought, this is I forgot to add in the moon. You could always take and make not sure when the sun and the moon would be. Oops, that was a little close. Let's go like this. And I can just say 0 dot height. Oops. Yeah, we can use the ellipse tool to clean up some of this too. I'm going to use the brush. So kind of a little crescent moon there. But yeah, you can add stuff in here um, and edit the tactographic as well. And you don't have to make tactographics. So if you want to go to Nike swoosh, you can find images online. You know, if you want to show somebody the what the Nike swoosh logo looked like. Let's see. This is a JPEG here. Let's see if this is. Oh, that's got all the squares on it. That's going to look really weird. Let's pick a different one here. Wikipedia seems like it'd have a good one. Let's try this one. And that's just a PNG, so that's not even a JPEG. There we go. Oops. Let's see, this is the one. Perfect. And I'm just gonna, this is Windows Image Viewer, Control P. We're gonna print. And so this shows what it's gonna look like on here. This is just like any printer. So this is giving us a preview here. What I want to do is I want to fit this to shrink to fit. So it's going to fit it all on a page. I can hit print, Nike, and this would go straight to the printer. I have it going to the image viewer currently, or the PRN file. So that way we can see it on the screen. Give it just a second. I think it should be done by now. And we have the Nike swoosh. So creating tactographics, you can either find them, create them. You know, we can use that on a variety of different programs. We've used Paint, we've used Windows Image Viewer. I saw CorelDRAW on here, so if you like using that. Lindsay here in just a couple minutes is going to go over Illustrator. So yeah, basically treat these like a printer. And so I remember when I first started, Dan gave me a Columbia and said, there you go print something. And I thought, I don't know how to make tactographics. I don't know how to make any of this stuff. I don't, this is going to be a steep learning curve. And I thought I was in for a very complicated learning process. And I went home and this is what I printed. I thought, well, I'm going to try printing a Nike swoosh just to see, you know, something simple that I could create a tactographic with. And that's exactly how I did it. I looked up online and hit print, and this is what came out. And I was shocked. I thought that I know nothing about this, and I'm I'm not somebody that reads instruction manuals a whole lot. You probably should read instruction manuals, but I skipped that and just dove right into trying to figure it out. And to my surprise, it works like any other printer would work. So creating tactographics is pretty easy. And the Braille is also pretty easy to translate as well. Also, if you like using other programs like Duxbury or TactiveView, our embossers also work with those as well. So I'll let Lindsay go over some. Illustrator stuff, and yeah, if she wants to go over Illustrator, then we'll come back and we'll kind of cover some of the cool new features with the Color Ink Connect that we just released.
Okay, let me share my screen here. So I have a fresh 8.5 by 11 landscape document. And since we're doing a kind of a back to school webinar, I'll just draw something really simple like a notebook. An Illustrator, like most of your drawing tools, has a lot of the same tools, like shapes and pen tool and eraser. But I'll just start off with a rectangle. And if you want to add text, you just add a text box. And if this were a coloring page, I would make these in big bubble letters so that you could color them in. Let's pick a fun font. We'll do math or maths, depending on what type of what part of the world you're from. And if you're doing this if you're making tactile graphics in Word or Excel, adding Braille is as simple as just hitting translate document or translate selection. But if you're using Illustrator or Paint or CorelDRAW or something that doesn't have built-in translation, it's pretty much like adding any other text. You just type your text and then format it in a Braille 36 or Braille 29, depending on what you're using font, and change the size to the appropriate size. And if I wanted this to be, if I don't know how to translate this by hand, then I typically use the View Plus translator, which is part of TSS, and it'll translate whatever you have copied to your clipboard. And say I wanted this in grade 2, I can select grade 2, translate, and this is already automatically copied to my clipboard, so I can just go back, paste it, and there it is. And if you want this to be in ASCII Braille instead of the Braille dots, then you can just change the font. And even if it's formatted in the ASCII font instead of the Braille dots, when you go to print, it'll still, the embosser will still interpret it as Braille and will print it correctly. So if we pull up the print preview, it shows up as Braille dots. And I like to have print preview on when I'm printing so I can get a visual confirmation of what it's going to look like. Otherwise, I would waste a lot more paper. And you can go ahead and print this, or you can save it as a PRN to edit. I saw earlier someone, Teresa, I think in the chat, asked about Tiger Designer. Don't know how to access it. If you just go to your search bar and search Tiger Designer, then it should pop right up. But like I said, you can also save a print preview as a PRN and open that, or you can set up a print to file embosser like Lloyd has, and that's pretty easy to do. There's a tutorial on our YouTube, which is I can send that in the chat if anyone needs it. Oh, you've got it. Good. I think that's about everything with Illustrator. It's a pretty simple graphic, but this is how I make our coloring pages for our coloring books that we have on our website.
Has everybody seen the coloring books? So the coloring books, we have them on the website. Um, and they have so you can either purchase them, or if you have an embosser, we have the files on there as well, so you can just download the files and print them yourself. So if you want your own coloring books and you have an embosser, you can go ahead and print them. If you don't, we usually will also sell them, and we do that to be able to cover basically the cost of uh, the book and shipping it. But yeah, it's Lindsay makes it look very easy to create tactile graphics. Mine, yeah, we've got let's see, I think was it five volumes now?
5 volumes. If you want to buy one, they're under shop coloring books, and you can add braille labeled triangle crayons. If you have an embosser and you want to just print them yourself, you can go to resources activities, and they're all under here. They're in PDF and PRN, with PRNs for pretty much all our embossers: Spot Dot, Embrail, Rogue, Delta, Columbia, or the docx file, which is just a Word document with all of the pages, and you can just print it straight to the embosser. And all of these downloads are free.
Perfect.
I haven't been able to download the coloring book since I moved to activities. I get a continuous loop to log in even though I'm logged in. I think we need to follow up on that.
We will. Yeah, Betsy, we'll follow up with you on that. I don't know if we've kind of changed the platform just a little bit, so it might be an issue on our end. Lindsay and I'll take a look at that today, and um, we'll follow up with you on that and see how we can get you to download those. The word search also is really cool. I
Yeah,
like the word
we've also
searches.
got word searches, mazes, find the difference. All of my little experiments with fun tactile activities.
So perfect. So I'm going to share my screen, and then so I've got the little bar here showing. Okay, there we go. So we just released the Color and Connect bundle, which is super exciting for us. So we had somebody on here that mentioned that they have the Premiere with the Ink Connect, which is a very popular combination to get. We also have the Spot Dot that will do color ink. But the downside to the Spot Dot is only letter size paper. Um, so over the last couple of years, we've been working very hard to create the Color Ink Connect that will pair with the Elite. Um, and the reason we have it paired with the Elite is it is way faster than the standard Ink Connect that came on the Premiere. Um, and so um, it's a great combo that will allow you to do color tapped graphics, color ink, um, with the full speed of the Elite. Um, does tractor feed paper, um, and so yeah, it's a great combo. We have a lot of people that use the Elite in the Premiere, so this is kind of the next step in being able to do color tapped graphics with that. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Questions on the Color Ink Connect? Who do I, you can't, so Jerry, you can reach out to me. Here, let me put my, so, you can send an email to me, and I will coordinate with myself and probably Ryan to help you get it set up. Setup's pretty quick and painless. And yeah, we can help you get it set up and start printing out some cool things on it. I think Lindsay, or do you print most of the coloring books on the Coloring Connect?
I've printed a couple, but I print most of them on the Rogue.
Okay. And traditionally to get larger form paper, at least larger than letter size paper, we've had to print some sort of a combo between either a Rogue or a Delta and a color ink printer in the office. So that becomes kind of a two-pass printer, whereas with the new Color Ink Connect, you can do all that in one pass, which is pretty cool.
It is much easier to just completely cut out the two-pass process.
It is, yes. Um, so yeah, does anybody have any questions, any samples or anything like that they want? Any? We've got about 8 minutes left here.
There was a
Does anybody-
question earlier in the chat asking if the Color Ink Connect can connect to the Premiere.
so as of right now, it cannot. Um, it is so we had to do some changing in the printer itself to be able to allow that to work. So traditionally with like the Premiere printer controlled the Ink Connect. On this one, because of the speed of the ink printing on the Color Ink Connect, the Ink Connect attachment controls the embosser. So it works a little bit backwards to how it used to, and because of that, um, we had to pick one of them to be able to start with, and so we have because of the speed, we've picked the Elite. At some point, it might be possible to do that, but we don't have a Premiere out that is able to do that at this time. And anything, so even so, if you own an Elite right now, um, because of all the changes we had to do to it to get it to work with that, it would need to be purchased with a new Elite as well. So we have that bundled as an Elite with the Color Ink Connect. Let's see. So we have question: Are graphics created with any of these Paint, Illustrator, Designer easy to transfer to the Monarch? Any more difficult than Word? Um, so the Monarch, I believe, is that the new APH device? So I have not worked with one of those yet. I know that is. I don't know how the Monarch works specifically, but I know that as we're creating our printers, our software, our drivers, all of that stuff, the main thing we focus on is ease of use. A lot of times when you get other embossers or other devices, you need specific software. I don't know about the Monarch specifically, but most of the time you need some specific software. And we've really tried to push for people know how to use Word, Excel. They know how to use Microsoft Paint, and so if people are using software that they're comfortable with, that's one of our main focuses is to allow them to continue to use that software. Um, that is something I would like to get my hands on here soon. So uh, I'm going to try transferring. I'll let you know. Perfect. Yeah, if you will reach out to me here once you try that out. And actually, I'd like to be part of that process if you wouldn't mind involving me in that. That'd be kind of cool to test some of that. So that'd be great. But again, I have my email in the chat, so if you want to send me an email, we can coordinate on that and see how we can make things better.
Jerry asked, are different drivers needed for the Black Ink Connect and the Color Ink Connect? We have purchased 2 Elite 200 embossers, one for each.
Um, there is an updated driver for the Elite. that works with the Color Ink Connect, and that should work with both. So you should need the newest Elite Color Ink Connect driver. Or the newest Elite driver should work with both. I'll double check on that though for you, Jerry. So yeah, and congratulations, Jerry. It's they're fun. We're having a lot of fun with the Color Ink Connect. So um, any other questions here before we wrap it up? Perfect. We have a couple more things we're looking to release here pretty soon. So keep an eye on your inbox. We'll be doing another webinar here probably in the next couple weeks to a month. We'll let you know on some of the stuff we're releasing with that. So yeah, lots of excitement going on at View Plus right now. Lots of innovation and ideas. So yeah, we'll keep you updated. Keep an eye on your inbox, and yeah, thank you everybody for attending.